Hi people. Today I'm sitting maybe in a little bit of an unusual place. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm at the cemetery and I'm sitting behind the grave of my grandmothers from my father's side. And as you all know, I came back to my hometown after 30 years, and it seems like I'm stepping back in a certain world with certain people. And as I all spending lots of time with my incompletions and my completion techniques from Paramahamsa Nityananda, I know exactly why after 30 years I came back here, dealing with the stories of which I never dealt with. That's what I can feel. My last two videos were about the emotions which I feel with my mother, and so many people having actually the same problem. So it's beautiful to see that we all have our emotions, our thoughts, our pasts. Today I had a beautiful conversation with my mother because I spoke a little bit about my problems and my feelings and my emotions, and it was a beautiful understanding to see that we all carrying our own stories in our own way. And I think my solution is with my guru and doing connecting with the source, connecting with cosmos, and to see we are not only our emotions, our feelings, our physical body, and that helps me. This is my part which I went. But when I'm coming back here and you meet so many people who are completely not dealing with this kind of subjects like gurus or meditations or yoga, whatever, you see that they're dealing with their own ways with their problems. So what I learned today is that when I go back to the parents of my father's side, they were gypsies actually. And gypsies, of course, they're all in the history. There were people who have suffered a lot because they were killed or kicked away or shouted out or were removed in cities or in places. So there's a lot of suffering, of feelings of not being accepted, feelings of not being welcomed. So all these subjects are going through my generations of my father's side from the gypsy part. And in my mother's side, there were very strong, Rome Catholic people, which were, I think, always suffering because, the pastor came in the house every year to see if you made your children and gave enough money to the church. So I can see actually anyway in the south of Holland, which is very Catholic, there's a lot of suffering from the church. I'm not here to blame other religions or speak about it because it's a very sensitive subject. But I think, in the south of Holland, where all the Catholic people actually living, there's a lot of suffering of the church, which made people feel guilty, or you are a sinner and you have to suffer, and life is suffering, and this and this and this. I've never actually believed it because I always was a person which left very early from my village, and I start to enjoy my life in my way. But when I'm coming back now after almost 48 years, I can see here, it is actually, life is suffering. No, there is actually simply a lot of suffering, and it keeps me busy always. Like, how can we get rid of that suffering? Because I think the human being, is busy with two things. We're always looking for pleasure, or we are looking for avoiding pain. That's the two activities I think what we're all doing in many millions of forms, many different possibilities, but we all want the same. We want to be happy, so we want to look for pleasure, and we want to avoid pain. And we do a lot of millions of things to get these two things. We even are ready to die for it, to get pleasure or to avoid pain. But what I learned this morning when I opened my Facebook, I think, or I don't know what I opened, but I saw a very beautiful verse of something, and it says like, while the human being is suffering so much and going through lots of problems and incompletions and sufferings and sickness and diseases and deaths and all these things, like, every time the body eats a little bit of its power. And when we get older and older and older, every time a little bit less power is left, less power is left, less power is left, until we are completely burned up. And then you see people like really going into the depth of their suffering, and they don't see any solution anymore. And that's why you see so many people getting alcoholics or taking drugs or committing suicide, or they just cannot deal with life anymore. And what it says is actually only the people who are connecting with the source. These are the people who are surviving more in a healthy way, because, and that's what I have to acknowledge. I think, I can only speak for myself. Well, I going on my spiritual path and knowing that the body is just temporarily, my emotions, my feelings, my dreams, everything is like temporary. I know that my ups and downs all day, they're going up and down. Like Swamiji, Paramahamsa Nityananda teaches us, you are not your physiological, psychological and neurological ups and downs. And that's true for me. I don't give so much attention anymore to all these ups and downs too, because the hormones, they're going ups and down, the chemical processes in our body go up and down, our emotions, our feelings, our thoughts, our body, state of body goes up and down. So if you don't connect with that, you observe it, you see it, you know it, that it's happening, but you know that behind that, there's something in us, in this area here, called Ananda Ganda. That is the holy space in us. That's where the soul connects. That's where the space, where this space is open, you connect with the source, and then you have a certain happiness which is beyond emotions, feelings, all these external happiness feelings. And I think that is the way of spiritual seeking, that you are reflecting the cosmos and then you go beyond all these emotions. But for the most of us, even myself, I still have all these things which are painful, or I'm insecure, or I'm in pain, or I'm suffering to see my mother, or thinking about my past, or whatever. But it doesn't take long anymore, because in 10 minutes I do my exercise, disconnect with it, I'm doing unclutching, I'm doing incompletion techniques, and I can get rid of it. But for the general persons, which I see now in the hometown where I am, I see people just suffering. They don't know how to deal with their emotions. You never learn that on school. They don't know how to deal with their thoughts. They don't know what thoughts are. They don't know what energy is. They don't know what the cosmos is. They don't know maybe what a soul is. So they just see, okay, I have a body. I have to suffer for 70 or 80 years, and then you die, and then life is over. And that is a very poor man's version of life. And that's why I love always my connections with the cosmos, that I think I know, even when I'm not always aware, I'm not enlightened at all, but I know deep inside I am an immortal being. I have something here in me which is an eternal source of love and joy and light. That's what I really am. And the rest, what we have, the body, the emotions, the thoughts, the thinking, it's just, it's a game, it's an illusion. So if we feed all these illusions, then you're suffering from morning to night. If I observe all these emotions and feelings and body sensations, but beyond there's this sensation where the heart lives, where the cosmos lives, where the Ananda Ganda is, where all the essence of us lives. I really do believe, and I really do feel, and I really experience that brings you so much more happiness. And that's what I want to share with the people until I die. I want to wake up people to find that space in you where you're not anymore the body, the emotions, the feelings, the thoughts, the physical, psychological, neurological ups and downs, because that's not what you are. You are that pure light. It's just diluted. It's just disturbed, it's just locked, it's blocked to all our experiences as a human being, to all these generations, to all the religious, to all our grandfathers and grandmothers, which gave it to us, all that suffering. And I think it's all our duty to keep going 24 hours a day to find that space where light, love, God, cosmos, universal consciousness is living. And that is the meaning of life for me. I'm saying hello to all of you. I wish you all the love, all the big kisses, big greetings, big consciousness. I wish to all of you, and let's really keep going to look for that space in us where there is no suffering. Bye-bye.